Oh, hello there. Crusty Train Guy 6 here. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Today is March 27th, 2021. Historically, this day is known as the birth date of Genesis keyboardist Tony Banks, as well as the date the United States authorized the creation of a national navy. But how does this day tie in with railroad history? We are going to discuss that and more on this episode of Today in Railroad History. March 27, 1876 was a day of celebration and excitement for the citizens of Spotsylvania County, Virginia. After years of being unable to transport goods due to the lack of a railroad, a local judge decreed that the failed Fredericksburg, Orange, and Charlottesville Railroad must change its corporate name to the more local and homely Potomac, Fredericksburg, and Piedmont Railway. This new company inherited about 18 miles of standard gauge track between the towns of Fredericksburg and Parker's Store, while also inheriting 20 more miles of trackless right-of-way between Parker's Store and Orange. The failure of the Fredericksburg, Orange, and Charlottesville was mainly attributed to the company's failure of completing the entire line between Fredericksburg and Orange. To help finish the line between Parker's Store and Orange, the PF&P decided to take a route that some other railroads were taking in the 1870s. This was to construct the line as a narrow gauge 3-foot line. This resulted in the company changing the standard gauge line already in place between Fredericksburg and Parker's Store to a narrow gauge one so that the whole line was one gauge. The railroad trundled on through the Gilded Age, making a profit pretty consistently until the beginning of the automobile era in the early 1920s. By 1925, the railroad was facing abandonment, but was purchased by local farmers who renamed the line the Orange and Fredericksburg Railway. The railway remained unprofitable and was reorganized once again as the Virginia Central Railway in 1926. The new owners made the decision almost immediately to convert the rail line from narrow gauge to standard gauge, and this conversion was completed by the late 1920s. On January 1, 1938, the management of the Virginia Central made the difficult decision to abandon 37 of the total 38 miles of mainline track between Orange and West Fredericksburg. This left only a short 1-mile segment in operation, serving local industries in West Fredericksburg that surprisingly continued operation into the 1980s. The railroad was finally abandoned for the last time on March 1, 1984, and the right-of-way is currently slowly being turned into a rail trail. Exactly 100 years after the birth of the Potomac, Fredericksburg, and Piedmont Railway on March 27, 1976, the Washington Metro officially opened its doors to the public for the very first time. The very first Metro line offered for service was the then 4.7-mile Red Line stretching between Farragut North and Rhode Island Avenue, Brentwood. Today, the Washington Metro system is one of the largest and most efficient in America, with 6 total lines stretching throughout Washington, D.C. and the surrounding suburbs. The Metro system is also, it seems, always expanding, so who knows how expansive it could be in the future. Although both of these railroad-related developments occurred 100 years apart from each other, literally, they both go to show that railroads still have an important role in maintaining the prosperity of not only rural communities, but also urban and suburban communities. Here's to more railway developments in the future. And as always, thanks for watching. This is Crusty Train Guy 6, heading out.